Hey everyone, welcome to this session of Learn with Optmyzr. Today, we're talking about how real advertisers use Optmyzr's rule engine to streamline their workflows and Amazon Ads efforts using our rule engine without burning out. Because let's be honest, if you're watching this video, it's probably because managing your campaigns is starting to feel like doing four different jobs at the same time, and with reason. You are analyzing, monitoring, optimizing, reporting. And if we're talking about multiple accounts, it obviously adds up. And that's exactly why many customers come to Optmyzr for help. They want to do less reactive work after the damage is done. They want to get rid of those many repetitive tasks that, while necessary, are not adding that much value to their day to day, right? And the rule engine is the perfect solution for that because it lets you, via if and then logic that you can customize, automate, simplify, or streamline many of the things that you're currently doing manually. And that's what we'll cover today. I'll walk you through real life examples of how some of our clients are using Rule Engine for Amazon ads and how easy it is to set it up in just a few minutes. So we'll see a few use cases that I hope that you find helpful. And with no further ado, let's dive in. In Optmyzr, you can find the rule engine under Manage and Optimize, Rule Engine, and View and Create Strategies. And if you don't want to click through the menu, just click the search tool. It's the first option here. And if it happens not to be there, then just search for it and it will quickly find it. It's AI powered. Anyway, let's go to the rule engine. If you're using rule engine for the first time, you are going to see this screen with three options. Use a pre-built strategy. This will take you to a library of pre-built strategies with sample use cases that you can start using right away, that you can customize as well or automate. And the second option is to create a strategy from scratch, which is what I'll be showing you because I want to start by showing you how easy it is to build something and the different levels of data that the rule engine supports at the moment in Amazon. And the third option will take you through our learning resources for rule engine in case you want to learn a little bit more about the tool after watching this video. But let's get started again by creating a strategy from scratch. All of the different boxes that you see here are the different scopes or levels of data for which you can create a rule engine strategy. Okay. For example, if you want to create a campaign level strategy, you'll see inside that box the actions that are available for that scope. For instance, you want to pause campaigns that meet a certain criteria. That's what the modify status action will do. If you just want to create a campaign level strategy to monitor campaigns that meet a specific performance criteria, then the action is to include in report. But those, again, are the things that are available inside each of those scopes. I, for example, want to start with a use case that will help me identify high converting keywords and increase their bids. Because keywords are treated as a target type in Amazon, then we'll use the target scope, which offers support for three other different target types: product, keyword, and audience. So I'm going to select keyword and create a strategy. Now we're inside the rule engine. I like to call this the backbone of your strategy. Here's where you can start tweaking the conditions, defining the actions. I personally find this really, really fun. So let's get started and let's build something together, right? Our objective here is to create a rule that looks for keywords that used to perform really well, say more than 10 conversions in the last 90 days, but haven't made any sales recently. Okay, so I'm gonna go ahead and delete the second rule that we're not going to use for this example. We're just going to do that check on conversions, on previous conversions. And let's start by editing this first condition for clicks. You can add other conditions, but I want to start with this and just edit what we already have in there. So I'm gonna edit, click the first side of the comparison, and right below we have the list of attributes and metrics available for Amazon ads. On the right side, you have the date range selector. So if we're talking about looking at conversions for from the last 90 days, we will have to change this to last 90 days and use maybe the sales metric for this, right? So more than 10. We want to update this, but let me show you here. In the middle, you have the logical operators for comparison. So we want to just use greater than and change this to 10. That's our first condition. We can then go ahead and add a second condition, right? In this case, we want to look at a shorter time frame. Let's say that in the last 7 days, the keyword hasn't seen any sales at all, or actually less than 2 sales in the last 7 days. And now on top of that, let's also factor in impressions. This is an interesting example here because what happens if we want to analyze impressions trends? If, I don't know, the keyword in the last 7 days has received less impressions than in the past, we can do a side-by-side comparison between two different date ranges by following these steps, right? So we scroll down, we select impressions for the last 7 days, and now we change the logical operator to less than, and in the right side of the comparison, we're going to select a single metric. There are different value types here that you can select. When you use an expression, it means that you can use a formula. But here I just want to compare it to a single metric. So I'll do that and change the date range to something else. So let's call this previous 7 days. Start date 14 days ago, end date 8 days ago. So we have, this is going to be the look back window for this comparison, right? 7 days exactly. I'll go ahead and save that. That is dynamic, by the way. Whenever you run the strategy, let's say I run it tomorrow, it's just going to adjust the date range automatically to the current date. So now we select impressions. And just like that, we have our comparison between last 7 days impressions versus the previous 7 days impressions. What do we want to do after that? We want to define the action. So I'm going to change this one. Again, if you want to just monitor something, including report is the option that you want to go for, because it is not an action. It's just going to generate a table report with all of the information that for the entities that meet the criteria that you're using. But let's edit this because what we're actually looking to do is to increase bits. So I'm gonna change the action here to modify CPC bits and then increase my bits. What are the other options available here? You can decrease CPC bits or set bits. So if you want to increase them, just select that first option. You can increase it by a constant number or by a percentage. So let's say here, we want to increase it by 10%. And below you have the limits, the range within we have, let's say, room to adjust your bits, or the rule engine has room to adjust your bits. We have a minimum bid and a maximum bid, which means whatever the result is, it should never be below $1 or above $10. You can change that, okay? So if you want to make sure to never bid below, I don't know, $1.5, you can do this. And for the maximum bid, you can set a limit here. And if you don't want to set a limit, then simply use something like an expression, or you can select the metric, like the current bid, times 1.10. which is basically the same 10% increase. Again, that's only if you're not interested in inserting a ceiling for your bid modification. Okay, I'm going to go ahead and just do that. Something that you want to do, and that I find really cool about the rule engine, is that it also offers safety options. So let's say that you want to run this strategy daily automatically. You probably don't want to increase the bids for the same keyword that you adjusted yesterday over and over again every single day. So you can exclude recent similar changes applied from the rule engine, and you can decide the time frame for that. So if we want to ignore last 30 days of data, we can do that. With just this, we've created that first strategy on our list of use cases, increasing bids for high converting keywords. What happens after you're done? You click View Suggestions, and that will take you to a preview of the results. Now, in the results page is where you can make sure that the logic you are building makes sense, that it's working as you expect. You can see here what the new CPC is going to be after we apply the suggestions or the increases. And if you like what you see, you have two buttons here on top, one to apply suggestions, another one to automate the strategy, which I'll show you towards the end of this video. But if you press apply suggestions, we'll ask you to confirm once more. And after that, the changes will be uploaded directly to your Amazon Ads account. That first use case was just a warm-up. Now I want to show you how to customize one of our preview strategies to manage ASIN search terms. So we click here, create a strategy, add group search term, and right below you'll find this one, non-converting keywords and async search terms. And the way that I'll modify it is to not only add negative product targets, but also positive, using what's already built in this strategy. So let's have a look at this. We have a rule to help us identify non-converting async search terms by looking at search terms with over 10 clicks, no orders, any amount of spend, and we're using this condition. Customer search term starts with ignored case v0, which is the same as the search term starts with this. This is how we identify async search terms in the Amazon Ads API. And if all of this is true, let's add the search term as a negative product target. Now, I want to, again, remove this second rule. We will not be using that. And I'm going to duplicate this. And I'm going to call it, instead of non-converting, I want to call it converting async search terms. The first thing that I probably want to do is say, hey, let's identify those that are converting. So I'm going to edit this condition. Add orders are greater than 0. That's it, as easy as that. The next thing I want to do is to add another condition for ROAS. So my return on ad spend is greater than 100. Let's go ahead and also add sales to this. So we're going to copy add orders, and we're going to look for sales greater than 0 as well. And as a final condition, we can add this really nice attribute here, search term exists as product target in campaign. Why? Because we want to avoid adding duplicate product targets in different ad groups, right? So let's only look for those search terms that don't exist as product targets in the campaign yet. Now we have to change the action. We click here, we edit, and we're going to change this to add as a positive product target. Click next, and we have our second strategy ready. All right, this is already pretty cool. We built 2 out of the 3 use cases that I wanted to show you for this video. And the third use case is where we'll get a little bit more technical. And this use case is also one of my favorites. I've actually helped customers implement this, and they've seen great results. And what we'll do is leverage the rule engine's external data integration options to connect or map target ACoS data for our campaigns to our strategy so that we can use it here to make bidding decisions. Okay, so we're going to use, again, a target level or our target scope, and we're going to use this prebuilt strategy right here to help us get started. We want to connect external data to this. For that, we're going to go to settings, and we have three options. But the one we want to use is the key value pairs. Why? Because the key value pairs was designed to help us map data from one level or even unorganized data to data in the Amazon Ads account. In this case, we're going to map campaign level target ACoS to our keyword targets and our product targets. The spreadsheet that we're going to connect using the key value pair option needs to look like this. It needs to have at least a couple of columns. One column should be called key. This needs to be the header. And under that column, you're going to add the campaign names for those campaigns that you want to optimize with this strategy. And in this case, we have a second column with our target ACoS. What you're going to do with this is simply copy the spreadsheet URL and paste it in the rule engine like this. You just paste the spreadsheet URL, you fetch the file, you connect the columns. You need to specify the value type of that column. A target ACoS is a number, so I'm using that. Now that the external data is connected, what we're going to do is to update the strategy. If you look at the logic, it is a pretty straightforward strategy. We're looking at keywords with at least 5 conversions, with some traffic, and if all of that is true, then we will set the bids for the keywords using this formula, factoring in the number of sales, the number of clicks, and the target. And that target is what we want to change because we're not using 0.3 as a target for all our campaigns. So right now, that is a variable that we need to remove from the expression used to calculate the bids and replace it with the key value per column, right? So we are going to change this formula, remove the target ACoS variable, and add our spreadsheet key value column. So we add our tacos column, and the next step is super important because here is where you can actually map the data on your spreadsheet to your Amazon Ads campaigns. So use here single metric and then campaign name. What this is essentially saying is for all my keywords, take the campaign name, which is our key, and map that so that we can refer to the target ACoS in the external data. Right, so we have our formula. Remember that you can adjust the limits here, the minimum and maximum bid limits if you would like. And then we press next. And just like that, our strategy is ready. Again, now it's a matter of reviewing your results. This is an actual example from a live campaign with data in it. We're running it for a sponsored products campaign, pulling the target ACoS of $25 from a spreadsheet. And in this case, it's interesting because instead of running it for keywords, I wanted to show you this example where they're running it for product targets. And you can see that the output of the formula or a similar formula to what I showed you in my example is actually suggesting a bid decrease by factoring in that target ACoS from our spreadsheet. So it is just decreasing the bids for our skateboards product in this campaign. And now that that is all complete, the next step is, of course, to go ahead and automate the strategy, which you can do from the strategy results page, as I showed you at the beginning of the video. But what I actually want to show you is how to do it from the Rule Engine's main page where we have our 3 strategies. And in here, I want to show you an option that I think is time saver for when you're automating multiple strategies at the same time, and it's the bulk actions automation. So we click there, we select the 3 strategies we created, and under the automation dropdown, you can create and edit an automation for the account you're working with. Now, the automation settings will always look the same. They're always pretty similar, but from here you can decide the frequency. You can run it daily, weekly, or monthly. The time slot. This is GMT time zone, so maybe you'll need to do a little time conversion there. And what's really nice about the rule engine is that it allows you to automate things in a safe way. You can see that there's an apply change checkbox, but it's not mandatory. If you just want this to run and send you an alert or a notification email when it finds something for you to review, you can do that. You don't have to let it apply all the changes for you. It will just notify you. But if you're feeling good about what you're seeing, go ahead and apply changes, and that will, of course, save you a lot of time. I'm going to discard this automation. One other way to do this is simply by clicking here, not automated. And when you're doing that for individual accounts, you can export results to a Google spreadsheet, which is also pretty cool. And another thing that you can do is to make strategies global. So let's say that you're managing multiple accounts, and some of the strategies that we built today you want to use in other of the accounts you've connected to Optmyzr, then make them global strategies, and that's all. They'll be available in any of the Amazon Ads accounts that you've connected. And that's a wrap. I hope that this gave you a clear picture of how Optmyzr's rule engine can help you simplify a lot of the stuff that you're doing manually to free up time for the bigger picture. If you're already using Optmyzr, go ahead and try some of the ideas I shared here today. If you're not an Optmyzr customer yet, go ahead and subscribe for a free trial to get access to this and other tools for 2 weeks. And of course, if you want some help, you have questions, or you're looking to bounce off some ideas, contact support@optmyzr.com and we'll be happy to help you. Thank you so much for watching, and until next time. Bye bye.